What's going on, everyone? So one of the things you may have noticed about the upcoming Scream 7 is the amount of characters that are going to be in this film. Like, there's literally like 15 to 20 characters that are going to be in this movie. Now, obviously, I don't imagine that everyone's going to survive, or at least I hope not. Talked about how I don't want to see this movie be safe, right? I don't want another Scream 6 scenario where, like, nobody dies, right? Now, you would think with, let's say, I think there's 15 right now, 15 or 16 right now. And there's rumor that there's supposed to be a handful. And that's not counting like the random cop and all these other like random characters, right? These are just like who we know, like Gail, Sidney, Dewey, right? You have Stu and, and Roman and all these. Now, a handful of those characters are probably not going to be actually in the movie, right? Like, like the Ghostface that are returning. Probably not going to see them much at all. I know some people think Stu might return, which if he does, okay, then he does. But the others, you're probably not going to see. Probably going to be a voice, from the voice changer or some deep fake AI thing or whatever, right? So you can probably eliminate, let's call it like 5 of them right off the bat, right? Even Dewey. Dewey's supposed to return to this film. I don't see him walking through the door all like, yeah, hey, yeah, man, it was just a couple scratches. We're good, thumbs up. Like, I don't think it's going to be anything like that. But, I do think that you're going to have maybe a handful of characters that are probably just going to be, the Vince of the world where, they die pretty quickly. You're going to have the random cop or whatever that dies. You're going to have at least a handful of deaths from characters in this film that you're not really going to get development for. You're not going to really get anything for, and they're just going to meet their end, their demise, and then you just kind of move on, right? But you're going to have, probably 8 to 10 core characters that even then I still think that's a lot, right? Like, I mean, you gotta be able to tell the story, develop the characters, including the legacy characters, build the new characters, have characters like Tatum, who is Sydney's daughter, kind of be in the forefront and be a more, prominent piece and fixture and so on and so forth. Just a lot that they're going to have to accomplish in like a 2-hour movie, right? But beyond that, I do think that there is, because as soon as I saw like the cast list and how many actors and actresses are in this film and how many characters, it's like, well, are they really just going to kill like 12 characters and it's just going to be this absolute bloodbath and you're not going to get to know any of these characters? You're not going to like, sure, maybe. But also we have Scream 8 that is supposedly greenlit and ready to go. And there's a lot of thought that like, hey, this film might kind of bleed into the next one, that Scream 7 might end in some type of cliffhanger or, have some type of open-ended type of, ending to where that's going to kind of pick up for the next installment, right? Scream 8, which again, I'm all for. So my thought process is I could see something along the lines of, whatever, like 8 deaths happen. You have like 7 characters alive at the end of the film. And it's like, man, this is a lot of characters to survive, which, I mean, it's really not, right? Like, you look at, again, you Scream 6, you had what? You had the core 4, you had Kirby, you had Danny, right? Like, you had basically 6, or Gail survived, right? You have like 7 or 8 characters survive anyway. I mean, Dewey, Gail, Sidney, Randy, right? Like, you've always had like at least a handful of characters survive. But I could see something maybe this installment, this go around, where maybe it's a little more, like I said, maybe it's 7 or 8, right? So you're thinking like, maybe it's Sidney, Gail, the Meeks twins, Tatum, her daughter, maybe Mark, her husband, and then like 2, maybe 3 other like characters, right? That all kind of survive this film. You have this kind of setup and build up that leads into Scream 8. And then now those characters, some of them are going to die in the next film, right? Because if Scream 7 and Scream 8 are going to kind of blend together at some point, you got to imagine there's going to be some characters that kind of bleed into the next installment, right? Like, you're not going to kill everybody off and then have a whole new group of characters, right? Especially if they do go like the cult route, right? And they have this like kind of grand scheme and this grand Ghostface, and let's just use Stu. Many of you know I'm not a big Stu's coming back guy, but we'll just use it as an example, right? So let's say Stu ends up being the mastermind at the end, and it's just like this grand thing. Are you really going to have all these 15 new characters that are going to be introduced in Scream 8? And, now you got to build those characters to that story and then continue the story that you left off in Scream 7? Probably not, right? Unless there is some like time jump in that film, in that installment, which, could be a possibility. Who knows? But like, I look at it and go, okay, well, I could see there be, again, the build up, the setup, couple characters die in between and boom, boom, get knocked off. Then you just have like this group of characters and it's like, okay, like are all these characters really going to survive? Are they going to are we about to see a bloodbath? Like what's about to happen here? Right. And you kind of build up to the climax of Scream 7. And I could see something where, maybe they all kind of just come together to take out the Ghostface. Ghostface ends up getting taken out. They all survive. You're like, man, they're really about to have like 10 survivors in this film. And then you get the big like climax or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. So this is my point is like, if part 8 is a continuation, then I think you can get away with it, right? My problem with Scream 6 was that like nobody died, and Scream 7 now isn't a continuation. And if the supposed Scream 7 script that got leaked, like that wasn't a continuation either. I mean, it was, part, 5, 6, and 7 would have been, the Sam story, but it wasn't like a direct, like this movie ends, this one picks up, right? Or even like, a month later or whatever, right? Where I could see Scream 7 and 8 doing that. I could see a scenario where, Scream 7 ends, you have your conclusion and everything, right? You have this kind of, even if it does have kind of a close end, right? You kind of have at the very tail end, this open-ended, maybe Ghostface standing there looking over, watching, and it's like, okay, that's it. And then that picks up, and then you get Scream 8 kind of pick up almost immediately from Scream 7. You kind of have that, just now this is just kind of one story rather than, kind of looking at like the Halloween 18 and Halloween Kills, right? Where it's all literally it's the same night. It's like all just one story, right? I could see Scream 7 and then ultimately Scream 8 doing something similar. Maybe it's not all in the same night, but it's essentially, like maybe it's like a couple days apart or something, right? Like Sydney and everyone's like, okay, we survived. We know this storm is coming type thing. We got to prepare, gear up, and, let's go type thing. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.